did not choose to go to the courts, but rather instead you chose to boycott the court system.
What courts are you talking about? A court that is presided over by a Chief Justice who was sworn in at Museveni's private farm? Is that the court that you're talking about? The justice system, the judicial system in Uganda is a shadow of itself. It is a joke. So going to court, especially at the presidential level, would be just another matter of legitimizing the illegitimate regime. You know, you saw what happened in 2021. We went to court, but Owinyi Doro, the then Chief Justice, showed it to all and sundry that the judicial system in Uganda was in the armpits of the regime. But again, the new Chief Justice who was appointed and sworn in at Museveni's private farm went further to show you that you cannot expect any judicial justice from the court system in Uganda. This is a judicial system that will throw you minor petty victories to give you an illusion of justice, but it's not there. That is why we did not want to deceive ourselves going to court to challenge General Museveni, who appointed the Chief Justice. And now, how would you expect a Chief Justice that has been sworn in from the man's private farm to adjudicate fairly over a matter where his appointing authority is the defendant? No.
How about the people who, for example, they are members of the opposition who have gone to court and they have had their victories, who had lost and have had their victories reinstated?
I told the people of Uganda some time ago that they should not be fooled by the small victories that they give them, because those people that give them these small minimal victories are the ones that stole our major victory in the first place. However, I did not discourage them from going to court. Why? Because winning the case is not the main agenda, but sometimes exposing the regime, exposing all these institutions of state as completely captured, sometimes is the agenda. We went into the election of 2021 and also of 2026, not because we expected to be announced, but because we wanted to make it clear to all and sundry that this is a completely rigged system.
Bobi Wine, you are a hugely popular guy in Uganda. Young people love you. I've seen you move around across Africa. People talk about you. They say how you could be the future leader of that country. What makes you tick?
Am I tick?
What makes you stand out? What makes you stand out as a young opposition leader?
Paul, first of all, I'm not young. I wouldn't count a guy who's 44 a young person. But again, I don't want to be the marking scheme. I don't want to make this about myself. We have so many people that are thick, or even thicker than me, if that word exists. So let's not make this about myself. I'm just one of the many Ugandans that want to use their loud voices to advocate for what is right. It should never be about me, because if we make it about me, then my imperfections will also be judged on this struggle. I'm just one of the many Ugandans that also have flaws, you know. I just want freedom. I just stand for what is right with my, strength and weakness. And I know that what makes me what I am are the many efforts, the many energies that are surrounding me. People might be looking at me, but I'm a voice that projects so much energy and so much wisdom and so much smartness that is surrounding me. I'm only a reflection of a generation that has been cheated, a generation that is angry and that is hungry. So let's not look at my being thick or lack of the same. Let us look at the challenges that we face What makes me stand out is because I speak about things that are affecting everybody. Journalists like you, common artists like myself, barbers like Eddie Mutwe, who's in prison, common hawkers like Olivia Lutaya, who's now the most popular female political prisoner, people like Machete, who's a border rider. I'm just a reflection of so many people. What maybe makes me what you call popular is the fact that there are so many people that are like me, that share the same pain and the same dream and hope.
Bobby, when I posted this advert that you're gonna be on this platform, I got a lot of calls. I got a lot of interesting comments. Some of them are from your fans. Some of your fans said that they lack direction. They wonder if you are going to go back to Uganda. They wonder if you are still their leader. How would you respond to those people?
Whether I'm going to go back to Uganda, I'm definitely going to go back to Uganda. I'm Ugandan, Paul. Okay? I am going to go back to my country because that's where I belong. I've said it before, and I say it again, that I will never be British or Chinese or American. I'm Ugandan, I'm African. I am out of Uganda because I'm advancing the struggle on another front, and to ensure that I live some more. Running away from my country was, in many ways, a postponement of my execution. As you know, my life was being sought after by a murderous guy that has killed so many of my friends, that killed 23 of my comrades by his hand, and was praying that I'm the 24th dead body at his hand. Unfortunately, he did not get what he hoped to get. So I'm out of the country so I can continue speaking and giving direction and, touching various buttons, well knowing that dictatorships like the one in Uganda, just like it was in the days of Amin, are largely kept in place by international powers like the United States of America, that has for so many decades been giving Museveni up to $1 billion every year, which money is used to oppress the people of Uganda. I am here, like I will be going everywhere, to call them out and to ensure that we do everything possible by any moral means to stop the Western world from funding our oppression. And yes, somebody might ask, like many regime apologists, I saw them claiming that I'm not Pan-African because when I escaped from death in Uganda, I did not run to an African country, but instead ran to America, which is branded colonialists and imperialists. I answered to them, like I want to reiterate my answer right here, that, in yesteryears, when our fathers and grandfathers were fighting for freedom, they would just cross the border. In the days of Idi Amin, they would cross to Tanzania and they would be safe. They would cross to Kenya and would be safe. But lately, the dictatorship in Uganda has been, exported to various places. That's why abductions are rampant in Kenya and Tanzania and other countries. Dr. Kizza Besigye, the opposition icon and inspiration to so many of the people in my generation, who was the opposition leader before myself, was abducted from Kenya by Ugandan forces, driven across the border in a car boot, at the watch of the Kenyan security. And now he was charged in a kangaroo military court. Many people, you saw what happened to Boniface Mwangi in Tanzania, saw what happened to our sister Agatha Tuhere, and many, many others. So countries around East Africa were no longer safe for us. And yes, you could not go there and demand that the East African community or the African Union prevails, as you know that many of them have been reduced to clubs of presidents. And because I also know that Museveni gets his bloodline, his energy, his survival from these countries that profess to be democracies, then it was necessary to bring it to them and tell them to stop sponsoring our oppression, to stand by the values that they profess: democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. And we are, confident that when we push and push and push harder, at least democracies might have their flaws, but they have a conscience. You remember that Nelson Mandela was branded a terrorist by the Margaret Thatcher administration. It is even after his presidency almost ended that he was removed from a terrorist list in the United States. So the apartheid regime, which was white, was actually supported by America until it was thoroughly exposed. And when America took its hand off the apartheid regime, it came down crumbling like a pack of cards. So we are confident that if the Western world stops sponsoring the Ugandan dictatorship, it will be game over.
But Bobby, to your point, there are a lot of people who said that maybe from a strategical point of view, that's not a greater place to be in. Yes, I know where you're coming from. You're trying to use every means at your disposal to create some kind of awareness about what's happening in Uganda. But there are those people who argue that trying to ask the Western nations to put sanctions, they're not just affecting the regime, they're affecting the ordinary people. They're affecting people with HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis. They're affecting kids who depend on some of the schools that have been built by this donor money. And the fact that you keep pushing this, some people have criticized you to say that maybe you are not patriotic enough. How would you respond to
that? Paul, there will always be those people. Like I told you, there are those that criticize me from running away from death. They claim I should have been a martyr, But I know he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. There are those that will criticize everything that I do. But I invite those armchair analysts and critics to fold their sleeves and get into the arena. In the first place, having ordinary people like myself, hawkers, barbers, border riders, showing up, rising to the occasion and leading was out of desperation. It was born out of the betrayal and the relegation of duty by those that we thought were the ones to fight for us. Many of them prefer comfort. So there will always be people like that. But also, to answer your question even more clearly, our demand is not complete cutting off of life-saving aid. No, we are calling for targeted sanctions to those that abuse human rights and democracy. You have seen sanctions that were slapped to other
Joseph
countries.
Kabila.
Recently they slapped sanctions on Joseph Kabila. He might have, there might be justification for those sanctions, but how come we've not seen sanctions on Museveni, who is responsible for mass murder? How come we don't see sanctions on Muhoozi, who tortures people for fun and is not shy to admit he tortures people live on social media? Comes out and tweets about, he admits his atrocities himself. That is what we are demanding. We are demanding for targeted sanctions. The United States and Europe, they have laws like the Global Magnitsky, which we call upon them to put them in effect, because the people that plunder our country actually invest in these countries. This is where they had their ill-gotten wealth, their stolen wealth. We want sanctions on them because they are depleting our treasury. They are destroying our education system, our healthcare system, because them and their families don't get education or healthcare from Uganda. We want them to be getting them from Uganda. And talking about, things like HIV/AIDS, as a journalist, I'm sure that you have seen in the past about the Global Fund and Gavi Fund scandal. The same money meant for our people that are vulnerable, those with HIV/AIDS and others, stolen by the powerful and mighty. So even the aid that is given to help our people is actually not helping our people because it is being stolen by those that are in power.
I wanted to go back to the point that you just made. Earlier, I talked about the issue of possible deniability, meaning that I can deny because I'm not actually, I'm using other people to say what I'm saying, right? For example, you talked about President Museveni, you talked about his son. Those people could deny because they are not physically involved in the acts that you alluded to. They could say, I was never there and I've never done this. Or the person in the son of President Museveni could say, people could use AI to impersonate him to tweet some of these things. How would you respond to that?
Well, they were, and he might be evil, but you'll give it to Museveni that for a long time, he has been smart. He has always had cat pals. He has always had people that he uses and later on dumps. People like Kakoza Mutale, people like Kale Kaihura, who have been sanctioned for the atrocities of Museveni. People like Erweru, who have carried out Museveni's illegal and brutal orders. He has always been smart. But for us among the Baganda, our tradition teaches us that we have a spirit called Bwanika or Emandwa ya Bwanika, which will ultimately expose you. And we are glad that that is working because his son Hozi, who is clearly his heir apparent, does not pretend about the atrocities. He commits them and owns them up and communicates proudly about the same. So it is no longer deniable. And even Museveni's age, back in the day, when he was still agile, when his mental faculties were still uptight, he was smart enough to hide them. But every once in a while, he gets the cat out of the bag. You remember when our brothers Nicholas and Bob Njagi from Kenya were abducted, and the police denied, abducting them. The military denied owning them, and they were held for weeks in incommunicado detention, while every security institution denied them. But when Museveni came out, and thanks to age, he said, oh yeah, these Kenyan people, they were kept in the fridge. Boom, he let the cat out of the bag. I mean, when I was abducted and tortured to near death in Arua, everybody denied it. The military denied it. They tortured me so bad, but they denied anybody, including my family, access to me until they had injected me with steroids and to reduce the swellings and to kind of hide the beatings. But months later, Museveni was to come out while he was addressing police and as he was passing them out, and said, yeah, that man was beaten very properly. So you might not be very religious like many people, but you will agree with me that God is on our side, and he always reveals our enemies to the world.
Not that I'm trying to defend, because those guys are not here to defend themselves. I have to play that role. I want to make sure that we don't get in trouble. Just for clarity, There are a lot of fake accounts. I've seen a million fake accounts in Mhosi's name. I've seen a million fake accounts in your name. Even me, there are so many fake accounts in my name. So sometimes what we see online might not be what is the truth. But that being said, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. As you continue, I'm also sure that you know that a verified account has a blue tick, right? And you know that you have seen it before. That when my bodyguard Eddie Mutwe went missing, the same official platform of the Chief of Defense Forces released naked pictures of Eddie Mutwe and said he's in his basement learning Runyankore. When my house was raided and many people were denying it, later on, Muhoozi was to release a picture of my wife with soldiers standing over her with guns and owned up raiding my house. So by virtue of that, I am sure you can no longer say that that was a fake account.
Again, I'm not a lawyer or I'm not an expert in that space, but I just wanted to make clear that in some cases, you have so many fake accounts out there. There is a point that you made
in some
earlier.
cases, not in this case, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, there is a point that you made earlier, and it reminded me of a great philosopher by the names of Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo once said that an idea whose time has come, you cannot stop. Yeah, you cannot stop it. In your particular case, you have a very strong movement. The NUP is arguably one of the strongest movements or political parties in Uganda. What's the way forward?
Thank you, Paul. And I'm glad you said an idea whose time has come, not a person whose time has come, but an idea. This is an idea. I am speaking on behalf of an idea, just like you will see Senyonyi, just like you will see Rubongoya, just like you will see Waiso Mufumbiro, just like you will see these young men and women speaking about this idea whose time is here. This idea cannot be stopped and will not be stopped. The way forward is always not giving up. Not giving up, continuing to push for what is right, continuing to encourage the people, continuing to resisting by any means necessary. On our side, we are non-violent. We decided to use the politics because, we are fighting against a military dictatorship that has entrenched itself for 40 years, that took power violently by force of arms, that was aware from day one that it does not have the popular support. Museveni has never won an election, not in school, not at any level, not even MP, not even in the 80s, as you remember, in 1980, as you remember. He got 1% of the vote in 1980. The election was
debatable. That's debatable, Bobby.
No.
In fairness to the president, I think he has won a couple. There are some that are very questionable, but in fairness,
Paul,
I think he has won a couple.
I am talking with facts.
Yeah.
I'm talking with facts. In 1980, we had DP, we had UPC, we had CP, and we had UPM. And Museveni came last with 1% of the vote. Semogere won the 1980 election. And Museveni claimed it had been rigged. Went to fight dictatorship, to fight vote rigging, to fight government-sanctioned extrajudicial killings and all that. When the military took over, he did not immediately call for an election. He did not hand power to the one that he knew had won. And that culture went on and on and on to the present day. So this regime is not democratic, and we don't expect it to be democratic. On our side, we are pushing for democracy. We have not called for violence because we know historically that violence at every turn has only begotten violence. When you look at all the leaders that have taken power militarily, majority of them, 90% of them, have developed that sense of entitlement, claiming they sacrifice a lot and therefore it is their birth, it is their right to rule or rather misrule the people. And also, we wanted the people to get involved massively, everybody, non-violently. So on our side, as NUP, as the People Power Movement, we are non-violent. But again, I also am aware that non-violence in many ways is more effective when the oppressor has a conscience, which is not the case in Uganda. So while we advocate for non-violence, while we are non-violent, I've said it before that there will come a time, if it has not come yet, where I will no longer be able to stop those that want to free themselves by any means necessary, including using force and using violence, you know.
Are you not? Are you suggesting that at some point that's a consideration that you're willing to consider?
Not on our side. Not on our side. We are non-violent because we know, and indeed the regime has tried as many times as possible to push us to the violent line because that is all they know. Museveni prides himself in being the master of violence, and he has spent the last 40 years stockpiling weapons. So we don't want to take him to the game that he plays best. But also, we know that our constitution says that the people of Uganda have the right to use any means, including military means, to restore constitutional order. As it is now, we don't have constitutional order.
But Bobby, if an NRM supporter hears what you just said, they will automatically say that this young man is up to something no good, right? They will obviously misinterpret what you just said. The Constitution provides for it, but hearing it from you, people might take matters in their own hands.
Thank you. Misinterpreting. Oh, I'm sorry. Please finish. You say.
Are you sure you wanna? Is that how you wanna frame it, or I'm giving another opportunity maybe to say it in a better way?
I don't need another opportunity to say the truth in a sugar-coated way. I don't care about being misinterpreted. Paul, I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for what anybody understands or what anybody interprets. And I'm glad you said misinterpret. I mean, you've had the late Tumwine calling us terrorists. You have seen Museveni's son calling us terrorists. Does that make us terrorists? You know, you've seen the regime branding this a military. So, you know, the berets and the overalls, they say the military regalias, the military uniforms. Does that mean those are military uniforms? So, we are responsible for what we say, not for what they understand or interpret or misinterpret for that matter.
Let me give a shout out to a lot of people. We have, wow, this is impressive, like 500 people watching us live. So for you who are watching us live, thank you so much. Please take a minute to like and subscribe to our channel, Different Perspectives. We are building a global brand and your support helps us amplify these voices like Bobby Wine, providing a platform where both sides are heard and they are given an opportunity to explain themselves. If you value independent journalism like this, you can scan the QR code, use the links in the description below to support the Different Perspectives, or you can donate with your Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Cash App, or Zelle. And for sure, I wanted to go back to Bobby Wine. Let's talk about something that is generating a lot of interest, the sovereignty bill. There's been a lot of controversy. People are saying that this proposal is targeting you specifically and members of the opposition, plus us, people in the diaspora. I want to get your thoughts on that, Mr. Kyagulanyi.
Well, while a law might seem or might be targeting one person at a particular time, believe me, eventually it will target or even affect many others. One writer said when they came for the Jews, I kept quiet because I was not a Jew. They came for the blacks, I was quiet because I was not black. But when they finally came for me, there was nobody to speak for me because everybody had been taken. The same way, you remember the POMA, the Public Order Management Act, when it was still a bill, it was presented by Amama Mbabazi. It was targeting Dr. Kiza Besigye. And everybody else thought, oh, it was all right, until it eventually clamped down on the framer himself. So the same way, I'm very glad that it generated a lot of traction. But one important thing that this so-called sovereignty bill revealed, it revealed that actually these voices that are supposed to be moral voices have always been there, and they see what happens. The religious leaders, civil society, the academia, traditional leaders, name them. They have always been watching as people are abducted and they're silent. Many of them, of course, I salute those that have always spoken out. We have these moral leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and people in the academia and civil society that have spoken up. But many of them have been silent because it did not affect them. They forgot that what affects one directly affects others and all indirectly. They had always been quiet until a law that touches their money came. And suddenly they're like, oh, our church won't be able to receive money from abroad. Our institution is not going to be able to receive money from abroad. Maybe it had to take a law or a bill like that to shake them out of their slumber and remind them that they are Ugandans and they're equally affected, by these immoral and unjust laws. I'm glad that they spoke out, and I salute them. I salute the religious leaders. I salute the traditional leaders. I'm very proud that even our own Wakabaka wa Buganda came and spoke out against this law, because it was not going to affect only the NUP. Believe me, it would affect everybody else. But it's my hope and prayer that they always speak out on other matters like the women that are being abducted. They come to your house, they come to somebody's house, they abduct somebody's wife in full view of cameras. They keep her in a military barracks for more than a month. Whatever is happening to her, you saw what they did to our deputy president, Northern Uganda, Dr. Lina Zedriga, what they did to our deputy president, Western Uganda, Mama Jolie Tukamshaba. You saw how the military and police went to the house of Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi and shot into his house, killed 10 people, and now he's the one being charged for terrorism. You saw how Natabi was abducted and kept for 37 days. And when she was brought back, her contraception had been removed from the military barracks. This is supposed to infuriate all these voices of reason. Sadly, silence. So it is my hope and prayer that just like the voices came out on this law that affects their money, that they come out on other situations that affect the people that trust them as moral voices. We have just had a rigged election where the main challenger was chased to be killed. Okay? And you didn't get a voice to that. But instead, you're seeing the would-be moral voices parading themselves and falling over themselves to appease the dictator so they can get brown envelopes and get cars. Dr. Martin Luther King, in his letter from Birmingham prison, said in the 60s that these were some of the things that were discouraging young people from drawing closer to church. Now, the way that our leaders, our moral leaders, are conducting themselves is not in any way benefiting our faiths, our churches, and our religions. So, just like, when they came out recently, which was an amazing thing, it showed the population and the world that they actually have a voice and that they can actually speak out. So, they have a challenge to show us that we should fear God more than we fear guns, and that we should love the truth more than we love money, cars, and brown envelopes.
Bobi Wine, as you can see on the screen, I'm showing pictures. My producer just put pictures of Kampala. You have a lot of supporters in Kampala who are wondering what's happening to NUP, who are wondering where it is in terms of who is running the organization right now. From where you stand, who is in charge? Are you operating from out here? Who is in charge, and who should people look up to while you are out here in Uganda, rather in the United States?
Peter, Paul, those are not my supporters. Those are supporters of the truth. Those are supporters of change. Those are pained Ugandans. Those are tired Ugandans that want change. When Dr. Kizza Besigye was the opposition leader, they supported him, not because they loved the individual, but because they loved what he represented. The same way, people support us because of what we represent. I've said it many times that we should always look at one another, guide one another, and move forward together. As the institution, the National Unity Platform, still that institution is not an individual institution. When I was leaving the country, I left in my position Dr. Lina Zedriga. But she's also not working alone. We have a leadership that people look up to. But even me, I am here. I guide. I am not dead. And I'm not silent. I'm operating from a distance because we also have work to do in the diaspora. And those that have been following my works, I am not seated. And the work that I'm doing is effective. And by the time I come back home, I'm sure I will also find my brothers and sisters that I left in charge of the institution also moving forward. They've made me proud. I'm very proud of the leadership of the National Unity Platform. They're doing us great. The works that Mama Lina Zedriga and other deputy presidents are doing is great. Even what Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi is doing in prison is great because we even have work to do in prison. He's not seated. What our leader of the Parliamentary Front, Right Honorable Senyeng, is doing is great. What our able Secretary General David Leus Rubongoya is doing is great. What these young people are doing is great. What our young leaders are doing from MP level to councillor level is great. What the foot soldiers are doing is great. Each one of us is holding from wherever they are, and we're pushing to the end of this dictatorship.
We are almost out of time. One final question. On a personal note, you and your wife and of course your children endured so much. How are you guys doing and how are you coping?
We are alive. We are alive. My children and wife are in a different state. I am here in Washington and I keep moving all over the states and all over the world because it is my intention to touch every button that weakens the regime. Like I told you, these military regimes, these authoritarian regimes get their energy and their support and their survival from the Western world. So we are here to weaken them. The agenda is to weaken the Museveni regime and ultimately cause its fall. There's no roundabout about that. There's no beating about the bush. We want to destroy the Museveni regime. We want to dismantle it, and we will. We will touch every button. We will reach out to everybody. We will use all legal and constitutional means on our side. But again, like I told you, we seem to have come to a part of not discouraging anybody from using any means to free us from that regime of blood and national shame.
Any final thoughts to your supporters?
The thoughts are not to my supporters. Don't support me. Support what is right. Don't look at me. Put a mirror and look at yourself. If you can't look at yourself, look at your children. Look at the oppressed people around you. This is not about me. And I don't want people to support me, but to support the truth. Because by supporting the truth, you are supporting yourself. This is not about me as an individual. It's about all of us. We must free ourselves as all of us. So to all of you there, don't give up. Change is in sight. Freedom is in sight. We are going to be free. We are going to dismantle this regime. We are going to get our freedom. We are going to enjoy our country. Museveni is going to go. I say it many times that all factors show it. The law is on our side. Because if the law was respected, Museveni would not be in charge of our country. The law is on our side. That is why none of us has ever been convicted, even when we are arrested numerous times. The political prisoners are being pushed to concede and accept the crimes they did not commit because they can't find any justification of convicting them. So the law is on our side. Time is on our side. Paul, time is on our side. We are the generation that is going to see change. And even God is on our side because God has never been on the side of injustice. So everything is on our side. Just don't give up. Don't lose hope. Believe me, so many terrible things are going to happen. Many will be arrested, tortured, maimed, killed. But in the end, we are going to be free. We are going to see freedom in our lifetime. All of you that are in the diaspora, you're going to get opportunity to come back home and enjoy your country. You know, all those that are in exile, they will return home in pride and confidence as Ugandans. When Museveni is gone, we are going to repeal all those stupid laws that are being passed. Never again will Ugandans need to fear the police or the military. The military will be guarding our borders and will be dignified. The police will not be playing politics, but it will be serving its noble duty of protecting citizens and their property. We are going to enjoy our country. Just don't give up. From my side, we are doing what we are doing. I salute all of you leaders, those that have not sold out, those that have stood for the truth. Don't give up. You are going to be proud of yourself one day. One day we shall hold hands and say, hallelujah, God has done it. I see that day coming. Don't give up, my friends. Temupoa, tugenda kuangula nawe. Tugenda kufuna eddembe lyaffe. You know, we are going to be happy. You are going to be free. We are going to win. Tuzakusingura, tuzakuhangura. You know, tuli abasinguzi. So don't fear. Don't give up. Keep the hope alive. If you see a comrade that is about to give up, energize them. Show them around. Show them that history shows us that oppressed people have not been oppressed forever. So encourage each other. And don't look at one person. Don't look at an individual. I am leading you, but also be a leader. I've said it ever since I showed up, that I want everybody to be a Chagulani. God keeps me around, maybe to keep reiterating these things. I could have died in Aroa. I did not. I could have died in Luka. I did not. They searched for me for 2 months. God covered me. When the entire military is looking for me, they didn't find me. That was not my power or wisdom. No, that was the power of God. So there's a reason why we are still alive. Why? Because God has shown it to us that we should, and indeed we will, see freedom in our lifetime. The goal is a new Uganda. Finally, I am going to come back to Uganda. I've refused to say I'm in exile, even though technically I am, but I refuse to say that. I've told my people that I am on a move, I'm on a mission, and the final destination is going to be Kampala, Uganda.
Well,